that slaps.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Still Slaps Music Reviews. Today we will be reviewing Justin Bieber's latest album, Justice. This album definitely, I feel like, was a step up from Justin's last project. I feel like in particular, I want to start off with the certified slappers, we'll call them, the slappers for this album. Deserve You was the first one for me that I felt like really did capture a nice bounce on top of that beat. The background synths that were behind that instrumental were great. The lyrics were there. The lyrics on this thing are kind of redundant, but that's besides the point. You know, you're gonna get that pop type of feel from Justin when it comes down to lyrics. But some of obviously some of the top pop songwriters are on this thing, from Benny Blanco to John Bellion, some frequent collaborators that Justin has collaborated with in the past. Ryan Tedder is another one that shows up on this project as a songwriter, and some other songwriters that I'm not too familiar with. But with that being said, like I said, Deserve You is a good, nice little groovy, just the bounce to that beat, and Justin's harmonies that he filled out on his chorus for Deserve You. I don't deserve you tonight was just, it was catchy. It was catchy. I love the bounce, the rhythm, and it was perfect. And it kind of feels like he's trying to embody that type of feel throughout the project. Next up, I wrote down Unstable. Unstable was just a good atmospheric, drowned out those guitar melodies that he had in there. The producer, shout out to him, whoever produced it. It's very, very atmospheric in the way it sounds. It's one of those those cruise and drive by type of tracks, and I think it was one of those features that he had on the project where, you know, you noticed the chemistry between Justin, Kid Laroi. That feature was great between him and Justin, and I really appreciated that track. Now, the other one that I wrote down, Too Much, the beginning of the album. Too Much felt like an honest, honest, smooth track. The instrumental was very simple instrumental. Justin, I think it really does say something when the singer, in this case obviously Justin, having that choice to really use his vocals on these spacier type of instrumentals. Justin really utilizes those points. Obviously, he knows what he's doing. He's been doing this for some time now. So going in there and utilizing that space on the instrumental to, like I said, just get on top of your harmonies and play with different flows and stuff like that. I think that you always want to have that shine as a person like Justin, being the type of singer that he is. And yeah, Too Much is very much just a straightforward. Love the melody, the melody lines that he layered on there. Like I said, the flows, I'm just thinking of them in my head that he got in on that pocket with that simple instrumental was great. So the other track that I wrote down, Somebody is kind of in the same vein as Deserve You. Somebody, to me, the lyrics were, you know, very generic and, you know, very cliche. But obviously, if you're gonna go that route, you want to make sure you have that beat, that production to really complement what you're doing. And you know, Justin finds himself, I feel like, really trying to imitate, you know, kind of like, you know, a weekend like feel. Obviously, we have After Hours that dropped not too long ago, and it's one of those things where you're gonna have that imitation from two big pop stars. So the sound is you hear kind of like a Weekend-esque, you know, imitation type of flow. flow there. But nonetheless, it's still catchy. It's still a nice groove. You can definitely bang that beat out really, really hard. Love by You. This is one of my more favorite ones, where I felt like Justin on the record, whereas some of the instrumentals did tend to get a little repetitive. I felt like the Love by You instrumental, it kind of filled out a space of need when it comes down to you wanting to hear something a little bit different on the album. The feature, Burna Boy, that feature definitely gave me that new feel to the album sonically that I needed. It's not a lengthy feature, you know, he's got a couple of lines, but he complements that beat, that groove, kind of like the instrumental has that tropical type of feel to it that I found myself enjoying quite a bit, because it just, like I said, the album needed to change sonically. There's a lot of redundancy in the track list, and this was that song that when you get to it, your ears kind of like, okay, you know, you're in another groove with the change up of the sonics for the way the instrumental sounds. Another one that I wrote on here is Anyone. Justin really shines. I think his vocals, where he's trying to give that presence, you know, you hear that, whether he's talking about his wife or his child, you know, it's kind of like, okay, you know, if you're gonna do that, do it with passion, you know, bang it out hard, you know, as far as you know what you're trying to portray behind that type of instrumentation. And he does complement it well. The beat is not doing anything too, you know, exaggerated. You know, you've got your pop synth sounds and those impact effects that you have on the electronic side of things for that type of instrumentation. Justin really complemented it really well. It may come off cheesy, obviously, but he did what he was supposed to do. Now, with Lonely, which is another certified slapper that I wrote for this album, Lonely to me is something that I want Justin to really, as a listener, I'm by no means a Bieber believer type fan, but Justin has been through a lot in his career. He's gone through growth. He's gone through what he's gone through, and songs like this reminded me of songs, the recent song he did with Shawn Mendes, Monster. I am always a sucker for a big pop star, or a big artist in general, coming out and really coming to terms with their path, coming to terms with their mistakes, coming to terms and putting that in the form of a song like, in this instance, Lonely. Lonely to me was honesty in its rawness. It was very touching. You do feel that sense of empathy for Justin. Obviously, that's, for some people, it's like, get out of here. He's a big pop star. He's got a ton of cash. He did what he did around the world. It's like, but like the honest person, you look at it and you're like, okay, a song like Lonely, you're going to want to, you know, it just capture that feel of, this is what I've gone through. And a lot of people kind of brushed me off because I was young and I was dumb and I did things that I did. But it doesn't change the fact that Justin still has that feeling that he emphasizes with the co-songwriter for a song like Lonely. And it goes without saying that you should still look at him like a human. And when you can have these type of moments on your album, as a big pop star as Justin is, going through what he's been through in his career, I think it's something to always admire, you know, even if you're not the biggest Justin Bieber fan. One thing I will say, I feel like Lonely, the hook writing for that track could have been a little better. He didn't do it like that. It was way better than that. But I feel like he could have performed that hook a little better. I feel like the writing on that was a little sloppy. when he went to go and dive into the lonely section of the chorus. I feel like it could have been a little better. But nonetheless, it's still an honest-hearted song, and I'm a sucker for it. So definitely a certified slapper. So all in all, I've got about, for this album, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 certified slappers, in my opinion, on my listens. Deserve You, Unstable, Too Much, Somebody, Loved by You, Anyone, and like we just talked about, Lonely. I feel like Holy featuring Chance definitely came off a little more cheesy than I wanted it to. Obviously, we've been speaking about the redundancy of some of the lyrical content on this album, and, you know, Justin being the big pop star that he is, it just sounds like a gimmick church mainstream rap song. You know, you go and get Chance, and he's, you know, devoted to his faith and stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, but this thing sounds like just a gimmick church rap song. It sounds like you're just, you know, trying to push, you know, that generic type of hip-hop feel that's been done over and over again. You know, you've got the Kanye-esque gospel, you know, background church harmonies going on, you know, throughout the hook. A little dated and done before. Definitely a skip for me. Hold On, which I believe was one of the leads off of the album, lead singles. Hold On, to me, the reason why it didn't make the certified slap on my listen is because I felt like Hold On, the beat, I don't think the beat suited it, the instrumental suited his lyrical performance as well. That percussion just didn't feel like it matched up with Justin's vocals like I was listening for it to. I understand going with it as one of the leads for the single off of the record. Obviously, it has that, you know, type of electronic substance to it, the way the instrumental sounds. But it just, for me, was a miss. As I Am featuring Khalid, that track to me kind of, it wasn't bad. It did feel a little lackluster part. I didn't feel like Khalid made his presence, it just felt a little lower on the lower end for Khalid's performance. I wasn't really getting a attraction like I would if I was listening to a Khalid record. Feature to me came off a little just lackluster, not really too much going on. Ghost felt like I think it was just the cheesiness of the lyrics for me for Ghost, to be honest with you. You can only take the tolerance for certain lyric, you know, certain pop, you know, type of lyrics over and over again. It didn't hit like I wanted it to. I think that Ghost of You line in the chorus was a little it's a little lackluster. Love You Different featuring Beam, that was a miss for me. I just wasn't feeling the vibe of that one. It sounds like, you know, the songwriter just said, okay, let's take, you know, a phrase like, oh, it hits different, you know, obviously that's a terminology that's used, and he mixed the two ideas together to come out to be a generic type of record. Passed on that one. The reason for me that Peaches didn't end up on my certified slaps for this record, hey, I'm not gonna front. When Justin hit that, I get my peaches out in Georgia. Hey, I was repeating that line. I was repeating that with just that one beginning of that hook for a minute. And it's definitely repetitive, and it's definitely, to me, it's just funny. Daniel Caesar and Giveon did their thing on that feature for Peaches. I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like it was trying to force itself to, you know, just be something that Justin had to kind of throw on just so he can say, okay, I got my feature with Giveon, you know, obviously Giveon being the R&B act upcoming that he is, coming up. It felt like, you know, he definitely just had to throw that one out there just to let the people know, yeah, I still have my eye on, you know, whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, you can argue my point as far as why that record goes the way it goes. Some people say that that's their favorite off of the record, and I'm not gonna lie, I can see why. Obviously, the formula between that record and seeing that interwoven with the rest of the record, it's like, okay, sure. I think Peaches just reminded me that some of these records just didn't feel like they meshed together, and I think we're getting into more of the kind of the downside of this album. This album kind of felt like in some portions that some of these records just don't sound like they need to be on the same album. Justin to sample Martin Luther King, obviously no one should have a restriction if they want to sample something, if they want to sample a speech or whatever from some, you know, philosopher or whoever, fine, what have you. But this record, I gotta say, I was more disappointed on the fact that when I saw Justin's kind of his press push for this record, obviously with the cover, it's like I really did think that I was gonna get something lyrically more inclined with, okay, is Justin gonna step out of his comfort zone as the big pop star that he is and lyrically address certain things? Maybe I need to be blamed because I'm not a Bieber fan, but as someone who is, you know, who's been paying attention to Bieber, you know, for a little bit of time now, I'm gonna sample MLK. It's like, you have the right to do that. But don't just throw it in, don't just throw the sample in on the record and the record just happens to be a compilation of just a bunch of different, you know, love songs and, you know, that are generic to the more popular throwback instrumentals that we are hearing constantly on the mainstream tip, whether it be from someone like a Dua Lipa or a Weeknd. You are asking yourself to be shot in the foot when you do something like that. The context of what you're trying to, you know, do, it just seems like a desperate attempt to make your album have an appearance that it doesn't really have, you know, substance-wise. Whatever justice is for Justin, obviously that's his process or whatever. But when going into this album, I do think that it was in poor taste. Shoot, if he would have even furthered that content with lyrically on this record, in compilation to something like a Monster with Shawn Mendes, I feel like that could have really propelled Justin to another place. Can't keep doing the same thing you did on purpose, you know, or pre-purpose. It's like that was a great era for you, but like, are you gonna evolve some way, shape, or form to really show that you do have more to say? Or the songwriters that you're getting with, because let's be real, we don't know how much weight Justin is pulling on the songwriter tip. Bring out more of something like Monster with Shawn Mendes. Oh, I'm sounding really biased to that record, but that's a great record. You can't lead with MLK. You can't sample MLK twice, and then your records don't really have much to show for it outside of you featuring a couple black artists. It's like, you have to do more than that. What you've seen in the industry, you can probably speak on some things, you know, and help upcoming songwriters or singers who maybe desire to be in your position see the uglier side. That's what we got on a record like a Monster. If you're a casual Bieber fan, you're gonna love this record. If you're more of a die-hard, I have to, you know, I want to see the ins and outs of Justin, you know, maybe something I haven't seen before, this record's gonna disappoint you. If you're someone like me who went into this record thinking that, okay, well, maybe we gonna get something different, because this cover art and that caption that he posted on top of the cover art is looking real spicy. And it's like, okay, let's see what you got on that pen tip then, my G. You're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get that outside of Lonely and maybe Hold On and the Interlude, which was the MLK sample. Hey, it's better than the last. It's better than the last album. It's definitely better than the last album. If you guys have any comments or, you know, how you felt about this record, have you listened to it? Do you plan on listening to it? Drop it in the comments below. What were your certified slappers on this record? Tell me how you feel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Make sure you keep your notifications on for another update, another review, another breakdown. We've got new music coming. You can hit below for links for new music. Still slaps, Justin Bieber. Peace.